Anthony Potter.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, so I'm here today to talk about the 2.5 years living without any representation on trial for constitutional activity where people are divided by walls and money. So, back a few years ago, I was working on the Tucson Homeless Bill of Rights, and I had started a blog called homelessnewsnow.com to help people who've had that experience to talk about it and help bring awareness to who they are, their name, and a lot of other stuff. At the time, I was doing a lot with Safe Park. I was doing a lot with community supported shelters. I was working with a lot of other organizations, and during a city council meeting, and there was a agenda to talk about more pay for police and more benefits. I chose to speak up and to talk about the police abuse going on in our city amongst a lot of the demographics. And during this time, when I was speaking, I was arrested, and since then I haven't been allowed to go to City Hall. In order to do anything from starting a business to running for office to paying your taxes, you have to do it at City Hall. So when it's come to trying to get involved with a political campaign, I can't do that because I can't be around the victims, which is the mayor and the council, who are saying my speech causes them to harms their career and what they're trying to do. The downtown businesses have made it a point to address the council through emails and meetings that I was being too vocal and not allowing them to address their concerns, which was downtown development and trying to get people to invest money into making a better downtown. All I was saying is, the poor decide, the poor have the right to be there and they need to be part of the conversation, and that it needs to be done without violating people's constitutional rights and having the police be the soldiers of the mayor and council to enact political grievances the mayor and council have with people that don't necessarily agree with what they have to say, and to then use the government system to silence them. And so during this time, it's like I was mugged by Tucson police on 4th Avenue in broad daylight by Lieutenant Doggett's team. The answer was that if I didn't like how I was treated, I had to go and talk to the mayor and council, when I don't have where the mayor and council has used the courts and the system, so that I have no place to provide feedback or to do anything like that. And then there's all the people that they're working with that are being communicated that I'm someone that they need to stay away from. So then where's the job opportunities? Because now anybody supporting the mayor and council is being told that I'm a troublemaker and not to employ me and not to do this or that. If I don't have feel I have a way to, if I don't have a way, if I don't think I if I don't like the way I'm being treated, I have nowhere to go to that. And if you go to another form, to let's say the county or the state, they say they don't have, that's a city issue, and they don't have jurisdiction. So if the if the mayor and council sees you as a political enemy, or they just see you as something that's keeping them from being happy doing what they're doing, which is serving who they want to serve, not who they're supposed to serve, then you can't even go to a higher form of government to file any kind of grievance because it's not their jurisdiction. So then when it comes to the courts, you got the courts who, because their financing comes from that local government, and then they can't be involved in putting you on trial because it's a conflict of interest. So then you got to move your whole court system outside of their system to help do that. And so in a lot of ways, it's like you hear about a lot of things going wrong, and you think about all the other things that are happening, and where there's not representation, and it makes you feel like you're just another prisoner living within walls, and you're divided by people because they are able to use their finances to silence you and to drive you away, which the Constitution wasn't built that way, and that this is something that I think needs to really have more said. And so it's like during these 2.5 years, it's living within this incorporated city where one, it's a conflict of interest for the city that's claiming to be victims of my speech to address any of my concerns, and it's also a violation for them to use their governmental powers to silence me, to criminalize me, and to drive me away. And so then any project that I'm working on, if they're trying to do a fundraiser to where they have one of these people there, I can't be there. So you take me out of the situation. How many more voices do you take out of this situation? Because maybe I have 300 people that I'm working with, that I'm talking with, that I'm doing stuff, and they're expecting me to help push this agenda, but instead I become a stepping stone on, or some kind of blockage to that, because they now have to orchestrate to where they have these people here or they have these people here, but they can have both of them there. And so then that makes it to where you got less demographics being represented in one of these meetings. It means you're not getting ideas that are out there, that you're not having the experiment and the productive conversation that you're supposed to have. And so it's like, now that this is going on, it's like I've been on trial for, they've been doing all this stuff for 2.5 years. They've charged me with obstructing a government 2 counts of obstructing a government operation, 2 counts of disruptive conduct fighting, and disruptive conduct threatening words or gestures. And so then if you think about this, obstructing a government operation, according to the Arizona revised statutes, means that a person and use threat or the threat of force to keep a government official from doing their job. And so we're talking about mere speech here, where anything that I said, which is out there on public record, it's on Channel 12, on the city's channel, it's on this city council's website, it's on YouTube, it's on Copblock, it's on a lot of these other things. And so you don't see any threats, you don't see any threat of force. Or what you do see is me in symbolic clothing just sitting there, and the mayor stopping everything in the meeting to tell me to behave. You got disruptive conduct fighting, which according to the Arizona revised statutes means that with force, you cause disarray, you cause disorganization, that you caused a situation to get out of control. So then we're talking about me maybe talking for 30 seconds. So then how's me talking for 30 seconds shutting down this 3-hour operation, in which it's meant there so that people can have a place to provide feedback for the government? And so what now? So then you also have it to where they charged me with contempt of court. And what they did is the charges had been dismissed, and I had gone there, and in order to run for office and put in the paperwork to be on the ballot, the city clerk calls up to the city attorney's office, speaks to Michael Rankin, in which and tells him, look, we got Anthony Potter here, he's wanting to the paperwork to file to run for office, and I'm not sure what we're supposed to do here, because it's Anthony Potter. And so Michael Rankin tells him over the phone, yeah, I'll handle it. So Michael Rankin goes up to the 10th floor, grabs Jose, the head of the mayor's security, comes down to the floor where the city clerk is, and has me arrested on a voided order from a case that had been dismissed. And then you got the disruptive conduct, abusive language or gestures, in which I'm at a public event that's it's advertised in the newspapers and on TV and everything. And I'm standing there and I'm on a public sidewalk chanting, the mayor hates the homeless, the mayor hates the homeless, the mayor hates the homeless. Well, the mayor asked TPD to arrest me. TPD tells them, hey, we can't arrest him, he's just chanting on a public sidewalk. So then the mayor goes to the sheriff's deputy that's working the event, doing security, and asks him to arrest me, in which, because it's the mayor asking him, he has no issue with arresting me whatsoever, because he wants to do he wants to do whatever the mayor wants him to do, and isn't necessarily thinking about the Constitution. And so this is a sheriff's deputy working security on one of his days off, who arrests me in TPD's jurisdiction for chanting on a sidewalk next to a public event. And so then they have me arrested on abusive language and gestures. What is that? Does that mean I picked my nose in public and I wasn't allowed? Did I have some kind of bodily noise that I made that irritated the nose of the people around me? Or is it illegal if you're clapping your hands like this and chanting on a public sidewalk, is that really, is that the abusive language and gestures they're talking about? You got another case where, because they didn't like the attention I was doing at City Hall, just using my right to peacefully assemble, my right to free speech, my right to provide my government with feedback, the right to be involved and participate in your local government. And I ended up getting a false accusation from Paul Cunningham's chief of staff, in which he accused me of assaulting him inside the City Hall elevator. Now, it's like you have to really be there to understand the demographics of this, but he's saying I did it in the City Hall elevator. Since then, he's changed his mind to say that it was in the City Hall garage. So you got a guy who's making an accusation who's changing his story, but let's look at this City Hall elevator. He says I did it in the City Hall elevator, so to go through there, you have to go through the main doors to City Hall and then go through the security thing over to the elevator that takes you all the way up to the 10th floor or to the garage. But since it's a City Hall council night, those doors are closed because it's after business hours. And so you got to go through the security checkpoint inside the chambers. You got to go into the chambers. You got to go past all the chairs, through the cops that are standing in front of the authorized personnel doorway. You got to go through that, down a corner, and press the button for the elevator to get to the City Hall parking garage. You got to have a key to get in there, or you got to have a car to drive in there and pay a clerk at the thing. So in all these areas, you got video cameras. Over the 2.5 years, part of what the city hasn't been able to do is provide us any of the discovery for any of these incidents. So it's like you got this building with all these things, and so then it's like in my case, the defense isn't given any money to provide a defense. So anything we want for discovery, we got to pay for. Anything that motions we got in have to be paid for. And so we're not giving anything. You got a serious case of wage theft. You got prosecutorial misconduct. You got police misconduct. You got judicial misconduct. And over 2.5 years waiting for my right to a speedy trial, in which, because of all the stuff going on, they're not really sure when that is. I got 17 motions that still need to be heard. I got my next court case 2 months away, in which it's ordered to just last 1 minute, to where they're going to talk about whether it's going to be dismissed or they're going to set a trial date. And so it's like part of what you have going on right now in the city is you have a lot of the budget stuff going on. And you had that last year and a few years. When it comes to the city budget, I'm not allowed to go there. I'm not allowed to email anybody. I'm not allowed to do anything. And so you got all these budget and decisions for the city being made, and I'm not allowed to be there. And I'm not allowed to participate in that. Why? Because I spoke on an issue that the police weren't happy with, the mayor and council weren't happy with, because it wasn't something issue that was going to put money in the hands of the developers in the area. Instead, shunning me and having me not participate is where we need to be. And so then what does that do? If it makes it to where I gotta fight for my right to exist, for my right to participate, that I'm put outside with who? The animals, with everybody else that they want to put outside, that they want to move away, that if they're not going to put money in someone's pocket, they're going to be shooed away. And so where do we go? Oh, from here.